everyone. How wonderful to be back, at least for me anyway. What about you, Robin, to this second episode of the third series?
Absolutely.
You know, we've had the schools open, but all our programming, as you will know, is all taking place online. And a lot's happened since we resumed last week. We've had the mental health evening, which is very well received last night, still on Facebook Live if you'd like to catch up on that. There are several parishes here each week for all ages. The youth have been extremely engaging recently with their programming.
Doing art, they're learning how to sketch really well.
Yeah, practical stuff, volunteering, as well as educational and fun stuff as well. And of course, Rabbi Friedman's series of Shiurim as well. So there's a lot happening here. And I just hope there's something for everyone. And we always welcome feedback. If anybody's watching the comment section, you can write what you like or call me.
You always like a phone call, that's right. We're just a phone call away.
Life's on the phone. That's basically what I do. I'm on the phone all day.
All right, so what's this week? We have Tu B'Shvat. So this week, Wednesday, we have Tu B'Shvat and International Holocaust Day on the same
day. Yeah, well, Tu B'Shvat night is Wednesday night, and Wednesday, of course, is 27th of January, the International Holocaust Memorial Day. Normally we do something larger, but yeah, so why don't you tell us, Robin, what we've got planned for Holocaust Memorial Day?
Right, so it's interesting, you know, we also have, you know, our big event is really, we commemorate Yom HaShoah in May, right? We have a big gathering when we are Canon Shul, and although I think everything's going to be virtual this year. But, you know, the International Holocaust Day is January 27th. But I think it's important that we have not only one day to remember the Holocaust. I mean, if you think about it, these survivors every day, this is what they live with every day. And
yes, a survivor once told me that. He said, for me, every day is Holocaust Memorial Day.
There you go.
And the thing about Holocaust Memorial Day is that it's internationally renowned, not just for the Jewish community.
Right.
When I was up north, I used to attend various ceremonies in non-Jewish schools and other civic engagements where no Jewish involvement at all, but they were doing something for Holocaust Memorial Day, which we always supported that and would go around and, you know, giving talks, etc., which I think is extremely important, and it's great that it's recognized.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the next generation, really, that's falling on them, falling on us to be able to continue making sure that we never forget. And so it's important that we have days like this to really remember.
Yeah, absolutely. The survivors often will say that themselves.
Yeah.
It's up to you. It's up to the next generation to keep the memory alive, to educate the next generations. And yeah, that's why it's very important. And so people are more interested nowadays, I've noticed as well, about learning our history and important of Holocaust Memorial Day. Obviously, you know, since the Holocaust, there's been ups and downs. Survivors themselves didn't speak out for many years, some more than others.
And so it's so important that we remember it and that we never forget what happened. And so tonight we have Rabbi Friedman interviewing Jonathan Orenstein from the JCC in Krakow.
Good evening, Jonathan Ornstein, and welcome to Nltv. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. Jonathan is the director of the JCC in Krakow, Poland, and we are honored to have Jonathan with us this evening in honor of this week's International Holocaust Day.
It's my great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
So I have to say, Jonathan has strong ties to our community through World Jewish Relief. This interview was arranged. Thank you, Dawn Kaffel, for arranging. Thank you, Shimon Cohen, for introducing Jonathan to me a year ago now, when we weren't quite able to connect, but I was in Krakow a year ago. At the time, Jonathan was in the States. But good to talk to you now, meet you now, at least virtually, and hopefully meet you very soon in person as well. So Jonathan, tell us a little about what's going on now in Krakow in terms of the Jewish community, a little about the renewal, a little about the JCC, a little about what you do and what brought you to Krakow.
Sure. So absolutely, the JCC has been open for, which is really the focal point of this renewal of Jewish life. So when we talk about a renewal of Jewish life, we're really speaking about young Poles who grew up without knowing they're Jewish and have found out somewhere along the way that they have some Jewish roots, and we're giving them the opportunity to rejoin the Jewish world. So these are lost Jews that we're bringing back into the fold. Our JCC was founded 13 years ago. It was built by World Jewish Relief, the initiative of His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, and the Prince of Wales actually came with the Duchess of Cornwall in 2008 and opened the JCC. So we have we're a very strong connection to London, to the UK, and of course to the Prince. And our center is really there. The Prince Charles had been there earlier and had met with some Holocaust survivors. And there was an idea of building a senior citizen center for them. And then World Jewish Relief, sort of along the way, along this process of building something, realized that there were these young people who were starting to find out about their Jewish roots, and maybe something like a JCC with a broader mandate could bring them in. So we take care of our Holocaust survivors. We have over 50 Holocaust survivors that we are the primary agency taking care of, but also we're bringing all these young people in who are just sort of coming in out of the cold and finding out about their Jewish roots. So we've opened the first Jewish preschool, the first community Jewish preschool to open since in 50 years in Krakow, and that's full. That's going on in our building, and we have youth programs and student programs, and we're serving the Jewish community. We're welcoming non-Jews in to learn about Jewish life, and we, in a normal year, which this year has very much not been, or the last 2020 certainly wasn't. In 2019, we welcomed 130,000 visitors into our building. So people, Jews especially, who used to come to Poland only to connect to the loss and to visit Auschwitz and to learn about the tragedy, now come, of course, to learn about the history, to learn about the tragic history, but now to also see this miraculous rebirth of Jewish life, which is focused on or spearheaded by our JCC.
That is really incredible and fascinating. And Yashikov to you for staying the course and building, being there for 13 years at JCC, 20 years that you've been there, building community. It really is something so powerful. But of course, like you say, Krakow is the gateway for so many to Auschwitz, being right nearby. This week is International Holocaust Day, and you have a very important and special initiative that connects Krakow and Auschwitz that you're engaged with this week. Tell us a little about that.
Well, yeah, so it's going to be I'm trying to get a lot of sleep this week. On Wednesday, actually, I will be walking with a couple of other colleagues and actually my wife. So 3 of us will be walking from Auschwitz to the JCC. Which is about 55-mile walk.
Wow.
So we're doing that to honor the survivors, but also one particular survivor named Marcel Zielinski, who when he was 10 years old was liberated from Auschwitz, and he walked back to Krakow, which was his hometown. So he's somebody who's become very close to our community. He lives in Montreal, but he does a bicycle ride that we sponsor every year, which is actually from Auschwitz to the JCC, called Ride for the Living. So he, although he's 86, comes every year and actually gets on a bicycle and does that with us. So we wanted to honor him in a special way by doing what we call this walk in Marcel's footsteps on Wednesday, January 27th, International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Well, that is amazing. So June will be the ride. I don't know how many people we can get to do the walk of 55 miles, but at least the ride. Tell us about the history of the ride and how that looked last year, will look this year. Tell us about it.
So in 2015, 2014, I guess, Robert Desmond, a young man in his early 20s from London, decided to raise awareness about the Holocaust by riding his bicycle from London to Auschwitz. And he stopped at all these sites connected to World War II and the Holocaust. And then after he finished his ride, it was, I think, 1,350 miles, took him about 3 weeks. He came to Shabbat dinner at the JCC, and he found something he wasn't expecting to find, which was a living, breathing Jewish community. And he stuck around for a while, and we became friends, and we're sitting around and realized that his ride, although incredibly important and meaningful, was unfinished. That if you have the opportunity to, you don't finish in Auschwitz if you have the opportunity not to finish in Auschwitz. That instead of finishing in a place of darkness, his ride should finish in a place of light, in a place of hope, the symbol of this reborn, or the center of this reborn Jewish community. So we decided that we're going to start this, and we'll call it Ride for the Living. We'll do it as a fundraiser to help raise money for our community, for our survivors and their families. And we did it that first year, and it had 15 participants. And then every year it grew and grew and grew. And by 2019, in the fifth, after 5 years, it had 250 participants from all over the world. We had Greg LeMond, who's a 3-time Tour de France winner, joined us. We had different ambassadors. We had a Nobel Prize winner joined us. And but what's really, I think, most meaningful is we have 2 Holocaust survivors who done the ride with us multiple times. One is Marcel Zielinski, who I mentioned earlier, from Montreal, and the other is a man named Bernard Offen, who did the ride in 2019, actually did it with me on a tandem bicycle, where he was pushing me along at age 90, and he's a survivor of 5 camps. So the ride is something that's really just, I think, become a powerful symbol of what we're doing here. Always, I think, in the same sense of the Jewish people, despite a tragic history, we're always going from the darkness to the light. We're always moving forward, and a people that are focused on life and focused on an optimistic future.
Wow. Well, I have to say, despite my wife being an avid triathlete, a bit of a triathlete, it's been many years since I myself have been on a bike, but you've inspired me. And if we can get there this year, please God, I mean, I know it's not going to be easy with coronavirus, but the vaccinations are going full force ahead. If we can get there, I would love to be part of such an important and inspiring initiative. My grandfather was in Auschwitz. I'm a 3rd-generation survivor. I also happen to be the chair of the Holocaust Monument of Canada. So there is a connection there with Marcel Zielinski. So it would be an honor to ride alongside him, and it would be an honor to be part of such an important historic initiative. So thank you for everything that you do, Jonathan. Thank you for everything you do to rebuild Judaism and Jewish life in Poland. Any interesting story you want to share with us of reawakening in Poland, somebody that has rediscovered their roots, that has maybe been a surprise to you as a result of your work?
I can tell you a story that's affected me very personally, which is a few years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, there were 2 sisters, and one of them, their parents divorced when they were young. They never knew their father and his side of the family. So one of the sisters got very interested in the father's family and found out that the father was Jewish. And that sister became very interested in everything, everything connected to Judaism, and started keeping Shabbat and studying with the rabbi. And she was very interested in absolutely everything. And her sister, not so much. And that the one sister, the older sister, became involved when we opened the JCC, and she started volunteering. And finally, she brought her younger sister, who was not that she was involved in any other religion. She just didn't see what her sister was so spending all this time around with the Jews for. Nothing against it. She just kind of ambivalent. But anyway, she was brought to a Hanukkah party at the JCC, and this younger sister, the sort of disinterested one, met a certain high-level employee of the JCC, and they got along very, very well. And she became a lot more interested in her Jewish roots, and they became a couple. And she decided to, because she was Jewish on her father's side, she decided to convert. So she went through Orthodox conversion in Israel. And at the end of the day, they decided to get married. And they, which really means we, because this is my story, and my wife got married in the courtyard in front of the JCC where we'd met a few years earlier.
Wow, you bring tears to my eyes. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that story. That's a story that I don't think any of our viewers will forget. And this is a week that we remember, and to remember and know that the memory of the survivors is living on through your important work, and inspiring the next generations to be able to rebuild and show that Hitler well and truly lost, and that Judaism is alive and well, and Jewish people are alive and well. Thank you for bringing warmth and joy and a spirit of hope to each and every one of us. Thank you this evening, Jonathan.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you to everyone in London who made, London really, without the UK British Jewish community, especially London, the JCC wouldn't exist. So thank you for making that happen.
Thank you.
Jewish Community Centre in Krakow is an amazing place. I've been there several times, and whenever we do our trips with the youth, we always make a stop over there, usually on a Shabbos afternoon. Amazing work what they're doing there. And they said still today, they have locals who come to the building just having discovered that they're Jewish.
Yeah.
And once they've brought various documentation, which is often difficult to find post-Holocaust, they look after them from start. You're right, you are Jewish, and there's rabbis and educators who are that amazing group of people they've got there, but
that's what you heard. We just heard Jonathan met his wife in JCC. There you go.
It's unbelievable.
There you go. Okay. And so Wednesday night, don't forget to light a candle in memory of International Holocaust Day.
We'll be doing that. Very important to mark that. Okay, well, thank you. That was extremely interesting. Thank you, Rabbi Friedman, and thank you, Jonathan Orenstein.
At the same time, we celebrate Tu B'Shvat on that day. It's
Tu B'Shvat is the time for renewal, but it's the kind of renewal that you don't see. That because the blossoms of the fruit, really, of the fruit trees only come out in Nisan or in the spring at Pesach time, but actually the budding of it and the way the sap reaches that part of the tree, etc. I don't know all the science, begins on the 15th of Shavat. But you don't notice any change in the trees to one day to the next. But that's actually itself a powerful message that often the root of the good that is to come, you don't recognize it. We're in the depths of winter now. But actually, while we're in the depths of the darkness, that's where the light stems from. And I think that's quite an exciting message, really, in our lives here, because many people don't see the light at the end of this tunnel, the lockdown. It's depressing, let's be honest. We're getting fed up. Nothing to look forward to. No simchas, no holidays. We've got young families at home getting all on top of each other. We're trying our best, and we're trying to look after the community, etc. But you know what? There is light. We believe, we have faith in Hashem, emunah and bitachon, that just as you don't see the budding of the trees on Tu B'Shvat, we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, but we know and we trust that it is there.
Right. It's like the poet, Amanda Groen at the inauguration said, "There is light. You just have to be brave enough to see it."
Yeah.
It reminded me of my saying. I remember you telling me it was cloudy on one of our holidays. I'm like, no, the sun always shines. You just have to look out for it. The sun is always there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because just yesterday when it was snowing.
It was lovely.
What's that?
I love the snow. We went out.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. It was just coming down. It was magical.
It's a nice feeling. We had a snow fight. It ended in tears, but we carried on.
Right. So we had a lot of fun. And so Ella Bracha came with me to do some sledding out in the heat. She was like, I said, let's do this. And she was the only one who was courageous enough to go. It wasn't even that cold. And as we were walking, we saw in one of the bushes this flower. It was like full of snow. And then you see these flowers in these bushes. And we're like, oh my gosh. You talk about Tu B'Shvat, you slowly, sometimes you could see it. You could see it.
Yeah, that's good. But the actual marking of Tu B'Shvat is something that you don't see. And I think that is the message.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't see it, but it's there.
But it's there. And you just have to look a little harder and behind, that's what I'm saying, behind that snow, we're able to see it. And so that's,
like above the clouds, the sun's always shining.
Open our eyes, sometimes we just have to open our eyes and we know that God is here and God is showing us the way. And we have to, get up and get there.
Well, you inspire me, Rabbanit. Thank you.
Well, who's really inspirational is the next two guests. We have both French caterers, who really had a tough time during the lockdown. All their businesses were shut. And what did they do? They went out to go help and cook for others. Let's hear their story. Welcome, Fabienne and Julie, to Nltv TV.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. So Fabienne, you are a French chef as well as Julie, and also members of HTSS. So long time, French in England, in London. During this pandemic, that with all the stopping of the events and bar mitzvahs and simchas, it's really tough for your businesses. And we know, but like many of you came together and did so much good for the community, and you now cook meals for the NHS staff. Tell us a little bit about how that started. Fabienne, you want to start?
I can start. Actually, it really started out of the blue at the last lockdown in March, where I asked a friend of ours who is a pediatrician at the Royal Free, who slowly started to work in the ICU units, if she wanted a chocolate brownie to take to work. And she said, oh, yes, please. So it started like that with a weekly chocolate brownie that she was taking to work.
What were in those brownies?
Yeah, my chocolate brownies are quite well known and rated. and some people started to ask me, could you make some meals? No, actually, I saw a post on Facebook of London Ambulance Services, where there was a Jewish boy in South London asking for meals to be delivered there. So I'm kosher at home, not certified, but kosher. And I said, okay, I'll do it. How many meals do you want? Said around 50. I said, oh, okay. So I did the first batch, but I thought it was going to, I did it with pleasure, paid for the ingredients, but I thought it was going to stop here. But I posted it on Facebook, and some people said, oh, can we donate? And actually, someone who knew this young man gave me a very generous donation, and he says to me, it's going to keep you busy for a few weeks. And I said, okay. So I had this money to spend, and I was cooking regular meals. And one day someone dropped a lot of vegetables. I had so much vegetables. I called my friend at the Royal Free and I said, can I make a soup and deliver it? And she said, oh, yes, they'd love to. So it started a bit out of the blue, and slowly but surely, I got into, my phone number was put into a WhatsApp group of 3 doctors at the Royal Free. And I was suddenly delivering around 60 meals a week. So at the first lockdown, my business was 0. Now it's a tiny bit different, not 0, it might be 20%.
And that's when you brought in Julie, right? Because there were more orders coming in.
I tried to find some. I couldn't cope. 60 meals every week, sometimes twice a week. I also had generous donations, and I almost felt I had to spend the money and cook and cook and cook and cook. So I asked Julie if she could help me, and of course, generous Julie said yes. And this is how she jumped into the help. So Julie.
Yes, it was, yes, the first lockdown, my business was completely dead, to be honest. I think people first were actually scared to order takeaways. And also it was the first time being locked at home. So a lot of people discovered how to cook, enjoyed it, and make. So honestly, I didn't have any business, and I think it was the only way to help. We all wanted to help in some ways. So I say, yes, of course I'll help, and I'll make meals. So it was very, very intense. So I think I used to cook once or twice a week for the NHS. And also I was providing Shabbat dinner for the communities, for the elderly and vulnerable people. So the first lockdown was really like intense of making meals for either the NHS or the communities. But now this time it's a bit different. It's people are ordering again differently than before. I mean, it's not huge meals because they can't entertain, and they do order I'm quite busy now with the second lockdown, but I'm happy also to help for the NHS. But now it's a different way. We are part of another organization called You Donate, We Deliver. So we are a team of about 10 chefs. Is that right, Fabienne? They're about...
Yeah,
yes,
we're about, I think we're about 8, 10. About 3 weeks ago, I'm sorry, Julia,
yes,
3 weeks ago, one of the doctors of this WhatsApp group contacted me again and said, Fabienne, we've got like such long shifts. We don't have the time to go to the canteen. We don't have the time to go out or to order food. Can you start again? And I said, okay, how many meals and when do you need it? Can we have 75 meals in 2 days?
Oh my God.
And I said, okay. And it was towards the end of the week, so I didn't want to bother Julie with Shomer Shabbat. And I said to myself, okay, I'll do it. And then I delivered and they said, can we have 70 in 2 days? And I started to like feel a bit of stress coming out from my neck and a bit of sweat and a bit of
I know you really enjoy cooking, and I know you love what you do, but 70 meals in 2 days with a little notice.
It's like 140 meals in 2 days on your own. It's hard. It's hard, even if we're used as, you know, caterers, cooks to like cook in big quantities, although we haven't done it for a long time for 70 people. But it was a tiny bit like, and I think it was also the shock that the need was so huge and the stress, they seemed like even more stress than at the first lockdown. So so I put one post on Facebook. People are amazingly so generous. So people started to send me money. And when I heard about the 70 other meals, I said, I won't be able to do that on my own, even with Julie and so I asked Julie, can you help? And she said yes immediately. And out of the blue, another cook, she's called Ruth, the homemade cook. She texted me and she said, do you need help? But I've not known her for a long time. Wow. Like such an amazing girl. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yes, you only have 35 meals to make now. Relax. And I saw like, and you know, suddenly the weight on the shoulder like started to like ease a bit. Wow. And they told me they will need 100 meals or 200 meals a week. So I said it's not possible. So from a conversation to another with Victoria Prever, the editor of the Jewish Chronicle, and some other people, she said to me, do you want to contact You Donate, We Deliver and be part of like a group of cooks and chefs and caterers? And I said, yes, please, yes. And I think they deal with all the donations. So they do the donations collections, they fundraise, they organize the dispatch, like how many meals they need from Moo, and we cook, and it is easier, Julie, no? It is.
Yes, much easier because we don't have all the administration things to do. We don't have to find drivers to deliver the meals. We don't have to know how much we can spend and for how many people. We don't have to deal with the hospitals either. So I think it's mainly, we'll mainly cook whenever they ask us to, and they organize all the administration bits. Yes,
it's interesting. The second time around, it seems like it was definitely more. You knew what to expect, and you knew what to be able to deal with it.
I think that for me, I realized that the strength of the virus and the stress around it is much heavier this time. I think also there's, for me, again, I don't want to talk for Julie and me, but for me there's a different energy as well. It's the winter. It's we've been in this situation for a year. There is a kind of like a tiredness as well, a sadness as well around it. I have to admit that I cracked up in my car once at the Tesco car park.
That's okay.
And I started to cry and said, oh, are we starting this again? And I'm very happy to help. And I'm so, grateful that I have my hands to cook those meals and to provide some love and some comfort. But, and I will carry on as long as I've got the strength to do it. But how long are we going to be in this situation? How long are they going to be in this situation? It's but they really, really need us. They really need us. And it's not, some people ask me, isn't it like kind of like a, and they feel like a bit spoiled with your meals, and I don't think so. I don't think it's being spoiled. I think they need it. They spend like 14 hours on their shift.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you make special meals? Like, is it a French cuisine, or are there just regular, meals that they can? Are they getting specialized orders, or?
No, but we're trying to. It's hard because we're trying to make a large amount for not so much, because we can't stand it, and we're also kosher at home, so the kosher meat is obviously more expensive than for the chefs. So we're trying to get the cost low and make as many as we can. So yes, it's so hard. So we still want to be to send nice foods, but it's a different perspective than when we cook for customers.
Right.
But
a well-balanced meal that's possible to do for a large number. I mean, it's
nourishing meals. Obviously, yes, we are influenced about our background and our traditions. Like I'm thinking of making a couscous this week with vegetables and meat. But am I going to be able to put a lot of meat? So
they have a meatballs petit pois, a couscous. It's a great dish.
Oh yeah.
Little green beans and the meatballs.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. You can do wonders. You can really do wonders with £1 per meal. We do beautiful meals, but you have to think about it. We actually have a Zoom call tomorrow night with all the chefs and cooks to give each other ideas and
support. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, Yashar Kol about your amazing work that you're both doing. It's interesting how you differentiated between the first lockdown and the second lockdown. How the first one, the people were more excited about cooking at home, and now they're sort of tired. But you guys are still continuing and still pushing, and keep going, keep the strength. And it's okay to have to cry every so often. We need that. We realize that it's tough. And it's okay to not be okay, once in a while, as long as we recognize it and we speak about it. But definitely, we're always here to support. And I think what you said, what's amazing, what this COVID has shown us is how the community comes together and are supporting each other. And so thank you for allowing us to help you help others. And really, it's about, that pay it forward. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. And
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you, Fabienne and Julie, for the amazing work you do. And our shul, we have started a sponsor a kiddush for the NHS, to cook for the NHS. And they've been overwhelmed. Michelle and Joseph has been overwhelmed in receiving requests for that as well. And you know what? It's one thing that COVID has shown, that everybody comes together and does chesed. So really, yasher koach to every one of you.
Kol hakavod. So it was lovely in shul this Shabbos when we celebrated the bar mitzvah of Zach K, and it just reminded me of what the shul is really all about, to be there as a community, as a shul, to celebrate the great milestones of people's lives. And so we're going to meet Family K, a great family with northern roots, I hasten to add. They were just
upbeat.
Yeah, they're lovely. You'll see. I don't need to tell you. And we want to wish them mazel tov on behalf of the entire community and thank them for celebrating with us in the shul. All guidelines were met and everything just worked out perfectly. And it was just nice to bring a nice simcha in the shul, even there's no kiddush or anything like that. It was just the religious side of it. And it was just so lovely. And so let's go meet the amazing Family K. Right, well, welcome Family K to Nltv TV, live and to the nation. Now, first of all, oh, that's the kind of welcome we like here. That's wonderful. First of all, mazel tov to you, Zach, on your bar mitzvah. Yeah, that's what we like. Now, I heard you leaning in shul, let me tell you, it was fantastic. You were so confident. You got up there and you lay on top of your voice. It was very good. You'd obviously practiced hard with a Romy, didn't you? You learned with a Romy.
Yeah.
It was very good.
We were so proud of him. We were like, literally, we were just hoping that Shaw would stay open, and the sun was shining, and he was brilliant.
It was just amazing. It was such a good feeling, and I'm so relieved that it was open for you. You must have been on Spilkies a bit, no? Beforehand.
We were on Spilkies for a long time.
Every day on the run-up, everything was changing daily. But we can't thank you and Romy and David and everybody and Rabbi Friedman for all your support and encouragement. The whole community was just behind us.
Oh, it's nice to hear that. And we were just so pleased that you were able to celebrate your Simcha in your shul. It's your shul, you know?
Yeah. And, absolutely.
Very, very lucky. I think overall they're just happy that we didn't have it on like snow day, which was yesterday.
Well, what's wrong with snow? Didn't you love the snow? We had a snow fight here with the kids. Ended in tears, but we made friends again. Did you have a snow fight?
We loved the snow, but we were glad that the sun was shining on his lathing day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. But you know what? People still would have come, even if it had been snowing. That you see who your real friends are, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was such a nice atmosphere in shul, and it was just lovely. And even though we're not even doing sermons, but we did, you know, Rabbi Friedman did a little one in your honor, which was very nice, and you got the presentation.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. And it was so intimate, you know, even though shul wasn't packed and we were limited with our numbers, it felt super special. And I really felt that a lot of the focus was on Zach, which was incredible.
That's how it should be. Yeah, that's how it should be. That's good. And it was good fun. The Zoom thing that you did for the family. So you both sets of grandparents could join, and from around the world I saw it, which was wonderful. And that way everyone was
really great. Last Thursday we did we called Zach's Boom 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 Zoom Mitzvah, and on Zoom last Thursday evening we had friends and family from all over the world. Grandpa Brian and Grandma Melinda from Manchester.
Nice.
Grandma Carol and Grandpa Norman from Netanya in Israel, obviously. Friends and cousins from New York, Los Angeles, Australia. Where else?
Just down the road.
Oh, and just down the road, Hampstead Garden suburb. Took that line straight from your speech, Zach.
You can't get more international than that. Oh, that's amazing, especially for the Mancunian family. I love Manchester. Sorry.
Of course, my northern roots.
Absolutely. So what's your family motto? Is it something to do with that boom you mentioned?
Our family motto is boom, boom, boom. The K's are in the room.
Yay! Boom, boom, boom. Zach is on Zoom. Boom, boom, boom. Zach's coming on Zoom.
Oh, I love that.
That's how we prepared him for Thursday.
There must be a lot of fun in your house, isn't it?
And Blake did an amazing Adam Zamira, not forgetting you as well, of course, Blake.
I heard it. It was gorgeous.
Year with Zach, and next year it's Blake, the Twinkle Twinkle.
I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be in shul with all my friends that were fortunately able to come. Obviously.
That's so nice. It's so nice that you appreciate that as well. Did Blake steal your thunder a bit with Anam Zamira?
Yeah, 100%.
It was a family affair.
He was amazing.
Well, you know what? Next year, I know you've just finished one. You're straight on to preparing for the next bar mitzvah, because I know you're on the program 2 years running. So, you know, Zach, you can just next year, payback time. You know, you can do Anam Zamira next year. And actually, no, I think the only under bar mitzvahs do it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll get an opportunity to take them in.
We'll find you something. You're not getting away scot-free next year.
It's a in the K family. We're all rooting for each other, so it's all great.
I've got my first session Monday, so yeah, back into it.
Yes, tonight, to your first session. That's wonderful.
Clashing with his show, I suspect.
It's amazing. So, what parasha? Do you know which Sedra you're doing next year?
Not yet.
You'll find out.
Yes, to be decided.
It'll be worked out. Don't worry. Make sure you'll prepare the right one, guaranteed. Oh, that's amazing. So, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun in your house, and never a dull moment, I expect.
It's never a dull moment. That is the politest way to say it. With just enough room that we can separate when we need to. But Zach's got his space with his new gaming monitor and gaming PC. And how many frames per second, Blake?
240.
And how many frames per second could the human eye see?
60.
There we go.
Oh, that's amazing. You know it all. Did you get a lot of presents, Zach?
I did, yeah, they were very...
Because I hope, without a party, I hope people still remember to drop it off, the present.
Of course, I've received a lot. There are many cards in my view that you sadly can't see.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to turn the camera around.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's share the love.
Around, if I may, of all of
Oh,
cards.
that's nice.
We definitely didn't forget to say the least.
That's amazing.
I don't know. And over here, this is a banner that our first cousins, that you can see this, our first cousins, Raphael, Zevi, and Ziabella made for us.
That's amazing.
But although they are all United supporters, we were fortunate enough to get the logo. And over here, what is left, all the wonderful chocolate boxes that we had delivered as well. It's by all friends, lots of friends. So that's absolutely
my mouth is watering here.
And if Francine could give permission, then perhaps we may be able to go and see her flowers shortly as well.
No, everyone was literally, we were overwhelmed by everyone's generosity and support, from the treats and chocolate and gifts and flowers. It was all incredible. We felt very, very loved and supported.
It's so nice. You must feel so loved and appreciated, and you feel like a real simcha. Even though no party, yeah.
We really did. Yes.
So happy for you guys, and it's so encouraging. And yeah, so how's the past year been really for you, Francine? Have you been working from home?
Working from home, and not only am I working from home, I set up a new business. So
can you have a shout out?
I've been in recruitment for
yes.
over 20
yours. Why don't you give yourself a plug here? Go on.
Butterfield Davis, it's called.
Butterfield Davis, legal recruitment. We put people first.
Nice. That's a good motto.
That is great.
Look, it's been great. It's doing what I've been doing for over 20 years, but with a different value system. So.
When did you start this business?
July.
Mum's been working round the clock.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Very hard.
We all have.
There's always time.
Do you give him that £5 you promised him for saying that? That was very good.
He's the one with the £5 today.
That's very good. What about you, Barry? Are you working from home as well?
I am, yes. So I'm in telecoms, unified communications. So we provide business phone systems. So we've been very overwhelmed over the last year through various stages of migrating people's business phones from office to home and back to office again during the brief respite when we were able to go back to work partially, then back to home again. But
you must have been really busy with that, with everyone trying to adapt to the new situations as they kept changing. Must have kept you really busy.
Really busy. It's been a really, really busy year, but also I'm extremely grateful and fortunate, and sometimes just got to be a little bit careful that, thank God, through these times, remained in business, and everything for us, the case is great.
Amazing.
And the boys have been, working hard with their school. So they've been doing Zoom lessons, and they've been very self-sufficient and self-disciplined. So we're very, very proud of them both.
Aww.
And especially Zach for adapting to, a different bar mitzvah while working hard as well.
Practicing so hard every single day. Is that right? Is that right? Who made you practice every day?
Yeah.
Should I change the direction of the finger?
Well, you know what? It worked because he did a fantastic job. He was spot on. Not one fault. Your hard work showed. So you did well. And then also you've got the support of your loving little brother Blake. Isn't that right?
Yay! Yes, you have.
And Zach, I'm sure you've been a tremendous role model to Blake. So now he knows what to do as he starts preparing for his next year.
Yes.
I'll tell you, I'm very inspired just meeting you all now. Boom, boom, boom. The K's are in the room.
Looking forward.
We're still in the room.
We're still in the room. Well, thank you for joining us at Nltv, and good luck.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us. We love being here. Love to the community. Bye.
What a great family. So upbeat, so happy, full of energy. Definitely, we couldn't have a kiddush after the show, right? Because of the new rules. And so they sponsored the kiddush for the NHS. And what a lovely mitzvah that was. So yashikov to them as well.
Absolutely.
And so after us, we continue with the Rabbinic Chavrusa series with Rabbi Lawrence this month, and Rabbi Friedman discuss.
Oh, that's tonight, 8 o'clock, isn't it?
Tonight at 8 o'clock, that's right.
And each Thursday night, I'm doing a thing on Zoom. The link has been sent out with the Shul's events emails. Just a short thing each Thursday night at 9 o'clock with Cedra snippets with short Divrei Torah that you can share with your family over your Friday night dinner, or even if you're eating on your own, just to learn something about the parasha, some nice thoughts. So do please join. It's on Zoom, so interactive. Thank you for joining us on Nltv. See you next week. Very well. We're getting very professional. And also my whole Tuvishmat thing, that wasn't planned. It just...
Yeah, there you go. As you're talking, I was thinking about, different
things. Very good. I tell you, we're getting very professional at this.
Yes, we are.
Okay.